Macabre, everybody. I got a donation from Stephanie Bone, who wants me to say, what are the top 5 metal moments that I think? And yeah, I had to think pretty hard about this, and I couldn't think of 5, but I thought I blended in some stories I went through that was a pretty damn good metal moment. But Stephanie also said it can't, it doesn't mean shows or record stores. And I'm like, man, a lot of my killer metal moments were at concerts, but I thought of other stuff. Now, she wanted 5. I'm going to give you 6 because this one I'm going to talk now is about a show, and I want to bring this up because it's a pretty killer metal moment. That picture you see right here behind me, that's me on stage in Colombia, headlining in front of 8,000 people at the EHOM Festival, and it was an amazing show. And during that show you're watching, there's somebody in the audience yelled perico. Now, perico in Spanish means cocaine. So I went into this whole thing. Oh, I heard, in Spanish, I said, oh, I heard Colombia has the best cocaine and blah, 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 And people were cheering. It was a cool show, killer show, actually. I walked off stage. There were 2 policemen waiting to take a picture with me. Everything was cool till the next day. I don't know what's going on. I woke up, went to the airport, got on a plane, left. But while all that's happening, me leaving, there was a lady out of those 8,000 people that complained about me, disrespecting Colombians and talking about cocaine on stage and blah, blah, blah. And then it made it to the news. Like, actually, TV news talking about, how it was disrespectful and saying they had footage of me doing cocaine, which they didn't. And I don't even know why they bring it up. You got footage on the news, you better show that damn footage. Anyway, so I'm on the plane, everything, I don't know what the hell's going on. And it got to the point where the police went to the promoter. They were looking for me to arrest me. And the promoter, right when I landed in the Miami airport, promoter, he left me a message on the phone. I called him back, and he said, man, they're looking for you. They want to throw you in jail for that cocaine statement. I was like, what? I was in total shock. And then I made a video saying, I love the Colombians because they were really awesome people. And I was not disrespecting them. And what the hell is this? You got footage of me doing coke? And I made an apology video, but also at the same time saying, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't think I'm going to Colombia anytime soon. So that is the end of number 6. Now, number 5, which involves me. I used to go to a record store on 5th Street called Specs Music. And across the street from Specs, there was a bar called Senor Frogs. And, I'm doing my little shopping. I'm crossing the street. And who's sitting at a table outside of Senor Frogs? None other than Mr. John Oliver from Sabotage. I couldn't believe it. I'm a big Sabotage fan. Went up to him, oh, man, it's awesome. I love Sabotage, blah, blah. He told me to sit down. And me and him continued. We drank. And I got so drunk. This was maybe we started drinking about 2:30 in the afternoon. I mean, he was drinking even before that. But I got really drunk and stumbled home after that. But I hung out for a good 2 hours with Mr. John Oliva, just me and him alone. And it was the most awesome shit ever. And that was a damn good metal moment. All right, at number 4, Billy Milano of Methods of Destruction, MOD. I believe they were playing Canada, but they were playing a venue where people outside were picketing the show because of their controversial songs like Aren't You Hungry and AIDS and so on. And they were out there picketing him, and Billy Milano put on a hoodie, went out there and joined them. And there are pictures of him with the picketing line, but I can't find it. I remember seeing it in an old magazine. But I tried to look for it online. I couldn't find it, but it is hysterical because he's looking right at the camera, smiling with the hoodie on, with people all around him yelling, to ban MOD. It was glorious, and it was such a killer metal moment. All right, now at number 3, I got to throw in this. Dee Snider going to the Senate, the PMRC hearings, and going over there and, making them all look like idiots while he showed up like a scumbag, and he told Al Gore that his wife had dirty thoughts that pissed him off. And, he went there, with in his back pocket what he was going to say, and he just leveled the place. And yes, there was talk about Under the Blade. He was talking about how Under the Blade is not a song about, masochism and stuff like that. It's about my guitar player, Eddie Oida, that was going through a throat operation. And I got to say, personally, what kind of throat operation happens in an alley? I don't know. I get a different interpretation to Under the Blade than surgery. It sounds like somebody getting stabbed in the alley. But even if it was about getting stabbed in the alley, you're a complete idiot if you were to do something because a song said it did this and did that. So it's retarded. So I don't know about that neck operation, but all I do know is that was a very, very killer metal moment. All right, and number 2, now there's another personal one. My last personal one was a friend of mine was friends with the cameraman at Latin MTV on South Beach where I live. And he told me that Ozzy was going to be there being interviewed, and he had to work. And he asked me if I can go and get a couple things signed. And, hey, you can meet Ozzy, get a couple things signed for you too. I was like, awesome, man. So I went there. I'm waiting around, and I bump into the host of the Headbangers Ball, Latin Headbangers Ball, and he was really cool to me. He was talking to me and this and that. And then Ozzy shows up with his assistant, Tony, and they were lost. I had to go out in the hallway and show them the way in. And then when they went in for the interview, the host invited me to come in. So I came in sitting next to the cameraman right across from Ozzy. And Ozzy kept saying funny jokes and stuff. And he would look straight at me and laugh, it was almost like he was telling me jokes. It was so amazing. And then afterwards, the host asked me to come into the waiting room where Ozzy was sitting. I sat down with Ozzy for a while, and he signed a bunch of autographs, and I talked to him for almost 10 minutes. It was a dream come true. He couldn't have been cooler. The one thing I hated about that day was while I was leaving, Ozzy was taking pictures with the staff of MTV, and, he was choking all of them. And I was like, damn, I should have brought a camera. And I regretted that till I finally got to meet Ozzy. And I got this picture with him. So, hey, I got the picture. All right, that is number 2. Number 1, the greatest metal moment ever, in my opinion, ever. Hearing Aid. Yup, Hearing Aid. With Ronnie James Dio and Rob Halford on the song. Are you kidding me? And a bunch of shredders. You got George Lynch, Yngwie, guys from Maiden, Buck Dharma, George Lynch, a bunch of singers, Doggin, and so on. Awesome mid-tempo killer song. Vivian Campbell ripping it up as well. I love the long version with the insane amount of guitar solos by all these guitar gods and the singing. It is the most metal moment memory that I can think of. So there you go, Stephanie. That is it. That's my top 5, man. I threw in I threw in that. I threw in this, as a little bonus. So I want to thank you so much for the donation. And if you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not. And please like this video. It's good for the YouTube algorithm. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath. And smack 'em a gob. Before we get canceled, check out the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast with me and Wattzilla. We are the Podcast Kings. Link to the podcast is in the description below, and also a link to the YouTube page. Check out older episodes with visuals. And very soon, either Ian and I will learn how to go on YouTube Live. Might be soon. So check out the greatest podcast ever according to science.com. It's also God's favorite podcast and Satan's favorite podcast as well. So check out the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast before we get canceled.